Alright, my people, how are we? Sorry about the late. Last couple of videos were intense, so I took a day off from everything. I completely didn't do my routine, and the idea behind it was to just have a day where I do nothing. That I don't know how that worked. Like I found myself today coming back to like hang out with my parents a bit until the end of the year. Right now we're at the 22nd. Till the end of the year, the goal is to be able to just just chill, whatever I can, whatever chilling means, whatever hanging out means, whatever just, I don't know. I'm still studying the stuff that I have to study because I want to do something in the day. I'm trying not to pressure myself. Restructuring into a more concentrated, like work oriented nature uh, actually required a different environment. And the environment I'm in right now is kind of like too relaxing, where everyone around me is somebody I know, and it feels like I'm getting lost within it. And every single time talk to somebody, I meet somebody, I kind of like remember why I have become the way I am today and why I am able to kind of like talk the way I do and present myself the way I do. But then, like, the actual goal that I have has not really come closer from a works perspective and from an engagements perspective. So I made a decision to. There's a place that I used to work at, and maybe that could be a good story. But there's a place I used to work at, and I remember when we actually established me and another guy working on the startup. I got excited, and so I up and left that place. And they kind of pressured me because the guy kept coming, and we were working there in my area, but they wanted me to pay for him as well, and that's not money I had. So we decided to do more work from outside or something like this, and like coffee shop work and like meeting and talking. And we did a lot of work when it came to that, but technically it was more discussing the idea, elaborating on the idea, which is work. But the programming part and the coding part and the like actual bringing it to life in reality and having it in front of us for people to kind of see, test, and all that stuff like, wasn't happening. And that's when me and him broke it off, and I ended up being the programmer. And then after I was done, the issues came again, and I entered my zone again, and I was researching and understanding many things in order to see where I was missing. The perils of perils, I love this word, but the perils of like working alone really does not give you a different perspective, does not give you a different angle to look at the work you're doing. And ultimately, when you have partners, and that's why people say like co-founders are important when you're working on something, especially something like for yourself. Because ideally, like what I'm doing right now, uh, even though it's a service for everyone, I'm doing it because if I had a place, I would want a service like that. And it's not that I realized that I'm happy that a service like this doesn't exist yet the way I want to give it. Because I want to be the one that does it. I selfishly want to be the one that brings it to this world. I want it to manifest through me and all the positive things and the good things. So the place that I used to work at, I stopped under the guise of we're starting the startup and yay, all these feelings. And even though it's close to where I am right now and it makes sense, I tried to find a different workspace where or a work environment. Like they come like here as like corporations, like they forgot what they called them. Co-working spaces. So co-working spaces are like a company that basically masters the fact that they get desks, they get good internet, they handle all that stuff, and you rent a space from them. And I didn't want to go back to it because a part of me felt ashamed, and I discussed it in the previous video. Because a part of me is coming back with like a failed attitude, like I failed and why I left. I left because I was on the startup, and we're getting bigger and all that stuff. We're getting bigger as a team. Now I have to go back, and it's beautiful because now that I think about it, I kind of have to go face the same people, and they probably changed, and they probably never gave a fuck, right? It's in my head. Everything is in my head because everything is a pattern on my own like timeline. Everything is within my transfer of like, what am I doing now? What am I doing now? Where was I? And it feels like even though I'm going back to the same place, I'm not the same person. But I forgot that for a second, for a brief like time, which was like last month and the month before that. I should have been a lot more on point where it comes to like moving back and instantly going there. But then again, I would have probably like coded slash programmed the exact same thing that I had before, and I wouldn't have exposed myself to the people that are around me now in order for me to notice the differences that I have to make, the different approaches I have to make. And I probably wouldn't have been taking time in order for me to finish the courses properly. I would have just tried to like learn something and apply instead of allowing it to fester in my head. So a whole lot of this has become like more of the train of thought over the past 2 days in order for me to establish like the actual routine that succeeds in allowing me to directly go after what I'm doing. And from there, I noticed that the base that was becoming my mindset and my mentality started looking a lot more solid in terms of how fast I could actually finish the job and what are the things I need to do in the job and the smaller details that allow us to explore all the mini attempts of change that I could handle. Because when they're all cluttered in my head, because I know all the things that I could be doing, now it seems like there's a certain like baseline from where I can actually build on top of. I don't know if this is too arbitrary, if this is too theoretical or just abstract for what I'm trying to say for whoever's trying to understand it. But the bottom line is, no, the next year I'll have a morning routine where I wake up, I kind of like do a bit of exercising, and I do my morning walk. And after that, I take a shower and I actually start the day. When I start the day, I no longer go search for a place to work at because I have a specific place to work at. And by doing that, I would actually have at least 6 hours of the day to 8 hours of the day that are completely work oriented, which is beautiful because as I actually proceed with what I'm building, I build the whole strength in replicating it because it'll be focused work day after day after day after day after day, which will allow me like more, I want to say, freedom and movability in order for me to be able to like target the things that I want to achieve and to learn the skills because building a website is not just one thing or two things or three things, it's a whole lot of things. And this is just the technical aspect of it. And even though I know what I have to do when it comes to the technical aspects of things, I really have to master them being really like, when you're doing something and anytime you want to go exercise, you kind of have to warm up. And once you warm up, you're able to be like active, you're able to be like engaging with the warm up. And for me, I think like mentally, we also do that. We also like engage with ourselves every single time we're starting something. It takes a while for you to focus. It takes for a while for your mind to be only looking at that one thing in front of you. And so the goal is to create a certain like pattern where anytime I'm entering like the work, my mind is already set on those specific things. And from there, I could actually evolve. So, so that the plan is to master. I have at least 5 skills between the front end and the back end and the design and the architecture that I kind of have to master. And the first I have to do is I have to start building like one step at a time and like getting the things over with, getting done with the littlest of things, I guess. The best way I could explain it is just if there's something that needs to be done when it comes to the website, by the time I finish it, I would have finished the tool slash skill that allows me to kind of like replicate it again, but it has to finish completely. And so as I finish that, I'll be able to dive in. For example, there's the design part, and then there's the architecture part, and then there's the front end part, and then there's the back end, and then there's the database. Each one of them is kind of like its own separate thing because it engages differently with the other. And I have to master each one of these separately. And by next year, I'll be able to do that. I'll have a part of my day designated and an environment designated specifically for that, which means by the time I finish work at 4 or 5, I can come back home and then I could actually like work out properly, go to the gym, and I'll be able to just do the things that I like doing, like playing the guitar, reading, writing, even like discussing random things. And I'll have something more substantial to discuss with you guys and to engage with you guys. I'll have actual progress where I'll be able to talk about like my platform. And then as I build on top of it, I start seeing noticeably the things that by the end of next month, I'll have like the actual platform where I get feedback. And then I'll be able to publicly discuss with you guys what kind of feedback I'm reaching and how I'm thinking about it in order for me to be able to step by step dissect it and to step by step kind of engage and allow for a certain back and forth between me and myself, which is similar to having a co-founder and similar to having a partner in this kind of like ideal situation. Uh, a lot has been happening, and it all boils down to me accepting that I wanted to be the kind of person that decides now I'm gonna work and go sit and finish some work and then go do something else. And even though I am going to become that person at one point, I realize that with all the changes that have been happening and the stability that I keep talking about, I need to create different environments for different purposes until I'm able to handle everything in one environment, or just until I don't need to think about them at all anymore the way I do right now. I need to evolve past how I see them. And any tool that could help me, anything that could support me, I think is a must, even though I really personally feel like I should be doing it and all these things. I need to get over myself. I need to get over my ego. I need to think, what am I doing? Why am I doing? Why am I doing it again? And I want to process just making sure I see what I want to be done when it comes to the platform. And the goal is to actually have it out there, disregarding my needs as my egocentric needs. Even though everything I'm doing is based on my ego, on what I want out of society and what I want in society. So yeah, fuck needs, right?